Yep. Give me a nod when you're ready.
Like
Shooter's ready. Stand by.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Bullets and Bourbon. I'm joined here with my co-host Frank Gow, and I have a good friend of mine, Scott Newnam. Now, I met Scott a few years ago. I think it was at the Mountain State 3-Gun Championship. That was probably about 3 years ago. And ultimately, we just kind of hit it off, started talking, ran into each other at the next time I remember seeing you is at Fort Benning. And then we kind of hung out, saw each other out in town with the team and everything. And then, next thing you know, I'm on Team DoubleStar with you. And you and I, we're probably on the phone probably once a week. I think I catch your wife, yelling at you for being on the phone at me. It's and it's a common problem. I have people that I talk to on the regular, and it's oh, it's your boyfriend, Matt, that you're talking to. So
exactly.
Yeah. It's oh great, here we go. I think I've pissed off more wives by getting their husbands in the 3-gun and spending all that money, or just because we're always talking and coordinating. So I mean, it's kind of life we live, because we look at it as this is our release, from a long work week, or a long work day. It's we're prepping and planning for 3-gun or something along those lines. Or, now in our case, because we're getting up on hunting season, you and I are calling each other and messaging each other about hunting, you sending me the pictures of the pigs and everything. And then let's see, last week with me nearly slicing my finger off. and then yesterday killing that deer. So it's the life we live.
That's it exactly. You're right though, man. It's a release from the work week. Like you said, get bullshit about the hobby and what makes us excited. Get our mind off of it.
Yeah, but before we start jumping in, can you kind of tell everybody about yourself?
All right. Well, I'm from Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Let's see, I'm an air conditioning contractor. Been shooting competitively since, I'd say competitively. I started shooting around, I think it was 2016. Probably everybody's story is a buddy of mine say, hey, come out and shoot this match. Grab whatever gun. Come on, let's go. It was a USPSA match. And been doing it ever since. 2-gun, 3-gun, dabble in PRS a little bit. Avid hunter. I like to work on stuff. Always tinkering with something. So always keep busy, take stuff apart, put stuff back together, that kind of thing.
I remember when I first met you, I always thought you were from Alabama, just because, I didn't realize at the time you have property in Alabama, and that's kind of like your hunting refuge. But then you live in Florida, and talk to people yeah, Scott from Alabama. And you mean Scott from Florida? It's what are you talking about? I thought he was from Alabama. But no.
Well, technically, Fort Walton Beach, when you think of Florida, I tell people I'm from Florida, and they're like, oh, like Orlando? No. I'm 45 minutes from the Alabama line. So we're basically in lower Alabama.
Yeah. And what people don't realize is parts of Florida is more country than city. People automatically start thinking Tampa, Orlando, and Miami. That's all people ever think of whenever you talk about Florida.
Oh, 100%. There are some pretty backwoods redneck spots in Florida now. I mean, it's pretty country. I mean, a lot of cattle, still a lot of farming, stuff like that. Yeah, we get a bad name for all those big towns.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I mean, I remember whenever I grew up in Florida, it was like, I lived up in Pembroke Pines at the time, and it was still a lot of farmed country up there before it became like a suburb of Fort Lauderdale. And, you know, I would go to the sugarcane fields all the time. I'd go out to the citrus groves all the time. And I mean, you want to talk Florida? Florida's full of nothing but citrus groves and
Hmm.
sugarcane. And that's what you got down there. But people don't realize that.
Oh no, not at all. And I'd be like, well, how far are you from Orlando? Like 8 hours. Oh man.
Hmm.
And it's such a massive state because it takes, I drove it a couple times, but to get down to Key West, it's I think 14, 15 hours.
Yeah. Yep. Like I want to say once you hit like Jacksonville and to get to Miami, I want to say it's like another 8 to 9 hours to get down there.
Oh, dude, that's a brutal drive.
Oh yeah, like there's nothing worse than the Florida drive because it's one straight road. There's no scenery. There's no turns. It's just, you know, just assholes driving as fast as they can.
Exactly. So I don't mind driving north to all these matches and whatnot because I get to see hills, country, different terrain.
Hmm.
You jump on I-10 and it's a flat stretch of just woods.
Yep.
Sucks.
But, kind of moving along,
Yeah.
ever since I've met you, you've been shooting open. I've only known you as an open shooter. Um, and I know you did start in TAC ops before that. But what drew you to open and what challenges are there in shooting open compared to TAC ops?
All right. So what drew me to open. Well, I ordered a. I was shooting a. What the hell was that thing? I can't think of the damn name. CK Arms. It was an iron sighted gun, 2011. And I said, well, hell, I'm going to buy this Phoenix Trinity Honcho. I could do it all, do every division. So I get the thing, I put the red dot on it. I said, man, this is sweet. I'm going to jump to open. So buying that pistol for me was kind of the, well, I just spent all this money. I'm going to do this. Oh, this is cool. So um, started shooting open. Of course, with that, hey, I need a shotgun, right? I need a shotgun with the box fed. I can play it open. And that's when I ended up getting the VR maybe and playing with that. I finally got it running reliable. But yeah, I didn't play in TAC Ops too long. The quad loading and all that. When I figured out a way I could get into just jamming a mag with 22 rounds in it instead of dropping a bunch of shells on the ground. That's kind of where I was at with that. So,
It's taken me a lot longer to, figure that out. And that's kind of why I wanted to have this conversation because like I am ultimately switching to open next year and me and Frank talked about it a lot. I mean, shoot, I just, I'm buying Frank's Dissident Arms shotgun. And then, but you and I have been talking about open division for what the past 3 months. And it's like, I finally was like, dude, I'm making the jump. It's like might as well just do it now with TAC ops. I don't want to say TAC ops is dying, but up in this area, like everybody like at Zoo City is switching over to modified division or open division. So it's like I'm not going to be like, the limited holdover guys where like there's like 5 people left, at a major match shooting limited division. It's like, no, I'm just going to go ahead and make the switch and why not just fucking go to open and just have fun?
yeah, dude. I mean, we do this for fun, right? I mean, and for me, it was more work for the quad loading and all that. I like to shoot. I like to pull the trigger.
Mhm.
So, just jamming a stick with a shitload of rounds in it was just like, okay, this is my fun level. This is where I want to be at.
Mhm.
And the modified division, I mean, that way you can load up to what 12 or 14 in the tube on a tube gun, or I can't remember the max capacity on that.
You can load it as much as you're gonna hold, I want to say.
Oh yeah, okay.
I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't really studied the rules, but I think you can as long as, you can load it up to capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, let's face it, like a lot of your local matches, besides, the Zoo City locals, because those are freaking like major matches almost. A lot of your local three gun matches, if you've got 12 in the tube or 14, you don't have to reload.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge appeal to that division. I mean, it's open light, right? I mean,
Yep.
for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, before the box mags became big, it was shooting a tube fed shotgun, but there were tools to load it quickly.
Yeah, like Jerry with his what do you call a speed loader?
Yeah.
Jerry Mitchell looking at a speed loader thing.
Yeah. So, kind of talking about that, what kind of challenges have you faced whenever shooting open?
Equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, inherently, I don't think shotgun shells are supposed to be stacked in a magazine like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't really designed for that. So you add more red dots, you add more just complexity of equipment. That would be probably the biggest challenge, is getting something that can run reliably through a complete match.
And I mean, I'm not going to hold back, but I remember whenever the VR80s first became a thing, and the VR80s are the first things that really came out, and they were doing it to kind of challenge Dissident Arms and like the Vepers and Segas and stuff like that. But you always saw problems with gas issues with the VR80s. And I think you had issues with that as well.
Dude, so that thing is a finicky beast, because I bought it, and I think it was 2 weeks later after I had it, I went and shot a Sea of Steel match or something in Atlanta. Bought a whole bunch of Winchester white box. It ran flawless.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, this thing's awesome. Ran it the next weekend, fell on its face. Okay, fine. I need to fix this problem. And I was chasing issues until I got it to run probably about 90, 95%. But it's one of those in the back of your mind. It's like, this thing's going to die on me.
Yep.
And,
But
a lot of others have had way more bigger issues than that.
yeah, and it's just like, why run a gun whenever you don't know if it's going to operate 100% of the time? Like, if it's, I don't care if it's 95% of the time it's gonna run. Like, having like that 5%, like that will ruin a match.
Oh, 100%. And you know when it's going to puke is when there's an aerial clay and you can't make it up.
Yep.
Like every single time. So, yeah, that was definitely an adventure. It was a good start because it got me in the game, right?
Mm-hmm. But
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 I moved
now,
on several iterations of shotguns past that.
yeah, but now you have a Tokarev TT12 and you also have a Genesis. And
Yep.
what's your thoughts on those?
Okay, so the Genesis, that thing's pretty neat operating system. It's a short stroke system. Actually, the barrel reciprocates into the receiver. I currently have it mounted to my DoubleStar AR-10 lower. So that's what drew me to that. Hey, I can run a DoubleStar gun. I'm Team DoubleStar or whatever. That's freaking sweet. And it runs. It runs great. The way I've got it set up right now with the muzzle brake system, it's almost too much mass. So I've got to run a little bit hotter shell. The drawback to the Genesis for me is magazine selection, because they're a proprietary magazine and there's only one guy making an adapter or a coupler to bring you up to 20 rounds.
Oof.
Right. So that's it. Nobody else has come out with an aftermarket mag, longer mag extensions. That's it.
And I mean, what is it in comparison to the other guns you shoot in terms of recoil?
Well, right now, it probably recoils just a little bit less than a TT12,
Mm-hmm.
but it's negligible.
Okay.
I think the action's smoother. It just feels smoother to shoot. There's more weight in the gun. But you've got, when we talk about pricing, the TT12, what it costs, under
Yeah.
$400.
Yeah.
The Genesis, you're at, for their 3-gun upper, close to $3,000.
Yep. And that's just an upper.
It's, that's just an upper. Yeah.
Now,
the TT, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say let's talk about the TT12 because you and I both know Gaines Davis. I mean he's basically team DoubleStar, or he is team DoubleStar as well. But he designed the Tokarev TT12, and for under $400, you have damn near a 3-gun ready gun, shotgun. All you got to do is throw a muzzle brake on it, switch out the trigger, put a dot on it, and you're good.
That's it. Done. So you're under, hell, really, you're playing the game for $800, right? Mags, loaded out, everything with a reliable platform. I ran it this last weekend at the camp. I got that silly 30 round mag drum and got it to run. I ran 900 feet per second birdshot in it. It ran subsonic stuff. It's crazy. The Gaines, get back on him. He's been telling me about this shotgun for 2 years. I think actually probably about when I met you.
Yeah.
Hey, I got this shotgun coming out. I'm going to send you one. Like, cool. Hey, I'm not going to mess with him about it. And next year, we're still working on it. I'm like, okay, cool. And then finally they came out with it, and he wasn't bullshitting. That thing ran like a top. It's unreal, man. I mean, just the amount of engineering he put into that gun. He built it from the ground up. It's just the gas system and how it bleeds off extra gas where it doesn't need it. Like I said, it'll run 1,600 feet per second slugs candy cane with 1145s.
And I mean,
No problem.
I think the biggest thing, like that you were telling me, is it eats anything. Like it's not ammo sensitive whatsoever. You put whatever you want in it, and it's gonna just eat.
Oh yeah. That was the first time I brought it out and broke it in and tried it. This is the test, right? I mean, because we all candy cane loads, and I did high to low, 1,600 second slug, didn't miss a lick, just kept running. Cool.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I ended up buying a Tokarev, and ran it some, not in any matches or anything like that. I do kind of want to get it decked out so I can play with it, but I have that Dissident now, and next year I'm gonna let it eat.
Hell yeah, man. They're great guns too, dude. Like we said about getting it open and the cost of entry, the Tokarev is going to be where it's at. Just if someone's curious, they'll spend $800 on a setup, right?
Well, I also kind of look at it as like, I do the tactical games, and I've been getting a lot of those people to cross into 2-gun, and biggest thing in 3-gun, if they're going to do tac ops, is they don't know how to quad load. But if you start them out on a Tokarev TT12 where all the controls are like an AR-15, then the barrier to entry is even less than having to go to tac ops. So it's actually an easier way to get them in. And with tactical games allowing people to run slide ride red dots, now they're basically open division already.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, because all they're doing is just jamming a mag load or a mag change. Way easier, flatter learning.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Tokarev coming out, it's barrier to entry into 3-gun is going to be lowered a lot less, and people are probably going to just start shooting in open division because they already have a dot on their pistol. The rifle is the
Yep.
same, and then they're going to be shooting a box fed shotgun that's under $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah. All in. I mean,
Yeah.
that's everything you need for that shotgun.
Yep.
You know, hell, the magazines are, I think Palmetto had them on sale for $19.
Yeah. So I mean, you really
It's
can't go wrong in that aspect.
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm excited about it. You know, I know Gaines is just tickled pink with it, and finally when I got my hands on one and run it, it's like this thing is going to be a game changer as far as getting people involved.
Yep.
You know, I brought it out to our last 2-gun match and dicked around with it a little bit, and hell, I know 3 people I showed it to went and bought one, and then they told their buddies. You know, it's just
I bought one.
yeah, man. The proof's in the pudding, though, right? Some bitch runs.
Yeah, no, it does. And like you said, like, yeah, the Genesis, which is a $3,000 shotgun and it runs, it has slightly less recoil than a TT12. I want to do a comparison with it against the Dissident Arms just to kind of gauge it, since I have both there. But the other aspect too, and like you and I were talking about this a lot. We were like, okay, what do we need to do to kind of make this competition ready? We were like, okay, it needs a brake. All right, you know, you can get the Typhoon brake if you can find them, and it's great. Okay, the trigger in the TT12 is probably a 7-pound trigger. That's not ideal by any means. But then you were like, I'm buying one of the Timney SG12 triggers, and
Yep.
it was a drop in. It went right in, and it's what, about a 3.5-pound trigger pull now?
Oh yeah, yeah. The reset's stupid short too.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. And then, the magazines for it, you can get 20-round mags for like $20. It's like, shit, sold.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hell, the mag extensions to make it a 22-round mag cost more than magazines do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just
Yeah.
no, it's cool, man. I'm excited for it. I'm hoping that's going to bring more people into the game. You know, as
Yeah.
far as man, that's my
I
gripe. I hear a lot about.
I don't want to load a shotgun. Well, now you can go into open division and just shoot and just shoot fast. And yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
So
It's
I mean, kind of going on and talking about open, we've already talked about the shotguns, and we've talked about pistol some, and what you use. Uh, what is there exactly, like, if I'm going into open, what would you recommend me that I absolutely need, and what could I wait to get? What do I need now, and what can I just get later?
I would ask first, what do you got first, right? Like, if you're coming from TAC Ops, man, just go ahead and load that tube up. You know, if you don't already have a dollar in your pistol, put a dollar in your pistol. And see, go ahead and play. You know,
Mm-hmm.
your first thing really though to actually play and be a little bit competitive would probably be your box fed magazine. You know, toting 20 rounds in a shotgun versus somebody with 12 or 8 even, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the shotgun would be the first thing to purchase to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
To get the full benefit of shooting open. That's my opinion. That's the big draw to open is the lack of quad loading, the big differential.
Mm-hmm.
Then anything after that, hell, shooting for the tripod or a bipod on your rifle, that's a game changer for distance.
Yep. I think that's what I'm kind of most excited about. Like, wow, I can actually just be in a prone position and have bipods and just shoot.
Yeah, get you a little rear bag.
Yep.
And just prop up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's huge, man.
And the best part is I
You
already
know, these
have
matches are stretching them
bipods.
out to what?
Yeah. I have a rear bag and I have bipods, but yeah, like you were gonna say, I think like Zoo City matches, you're shooting out to 550, 650, 650 yards.
Oh man, it's game changer. Instead of sitting there bouncing on your mag or whatever, prop up with that bipod in the rear bag, get a solid position, and send it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's probably the first thing is get the bipod. Anything after that, it's incremental.
Yeah, bags can wait, and if you're shooting in a squad of open shooters, somebody else is gonna have bags. Like it's like you don't need to get bags just yet.
Oh yeah, man. Like anytime we go to a major, hey, anybody got a bag? And 8 people run up with 6 different bags in their hands.
Yep.
Or even tripods. I mean, that's been the whole tripod thing is love hate, I guess, with some of these match directors. But even tripods now, 2 or 3 people run up with tripods. Hey, let's put like 5 on the stage. So
Well, we'll see. I'm curious to see if they make a rule where you could either have one tripod on a stage or you can have two, or it's got to change at some point because like people are just staging like 2, 3, 4 tripods throughout a stage, and it's like, all right, guys, like it's getting to be a bit much.
oh yeah, man. Like when we went and shot Battle for the South, that I think it was the all shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had 2 tripods set up in that lane for the 2 slug engagements.
Yep.
It's like, and even then, people mount up on the tripod and still miss the slug.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll see where it goes. Open is open, so throw them what you brung. But at some point, it's kind of, if you can't tote it with you, you can't use it. I don't know where that's going to go with the rules, depending on from match to match.
Yep. No, I agree. Like at some point, it's like, okay, I know this is a game, but there needs to be a level of control.
Right.
Talk to me about that Phoenix Trinity you got.
All right, so I think I got in on the second batch they manufactured of the honchos.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't even offer the single port comp when I bought mine. So I ended up getting the 3-gun model, which had the 3-port comp, the sight block 9 and 40 cal barrel, and I got an iron sight and I can't remember. I was shooting a Vortex at the time. But then they ended up, I had to send it back. I sent it back for their tune up and ended up getting the single port barrel for it. But I love that gun, man. I mean, absolutely love it. Shoots like a dream, smooth, flat. It's expensive pistol, but I beat the piss out of it. It just keeps running. Absolutely, I'm in love with it. Never had any issues with it. I think the only time I had something was a maintenance thing where I didn't take the extractor out and had to replace springs, and it was good to go. I don't. I'm terrible about maintenance sometimes. I just keep oiling it till it doesn't work anymore, and then I'll take it apart. So,
And you're always taking something apart.
right?
I'll be calling you and be like, "Yeah, I'm just I'm having a go at this taking this piece apart, drumming it down or, doing some kind of thing to it." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
I'm always tweaking stuff, dude. I don't know.
I think it's the name of the game though. Like, 3-gunners will mess with their guns. I don't think it's just 3-gunners, but it's a lot of us. We're always like seeing what can we do to get some type of competitive advantage.
That's it. It's racing, right? Racing with guns.
Yep.
So, you're always going to do something, try something to make it go faster. Like when I started shooting, I shot for a couple of years, and I got into mud racing. So ended up building a race truck, built a motor from scratch, did that, and it's the same thing. It's just a lot more expensive. Always messing with it, trying to make it faster, always tweaking something, you know.
Yep.
But shooting guns is more fun.
Yeah, well, I look at the divisions like, TAC Ops is, a certain class of car. If you want to compare cars, like we'll call it the Mustangs, Camaros, Charger lineup. Open, that's your Maseratis, Bugattis, stuff like that. Like your race cars types. So like that's where the comparison is, and I guess you're limited and your heavy shooters would be like your Pintos and VWs and Bugs and those.
Oh, that's terrible, dude. But you're right. Oh man, that's the truth, dude. And it's gotten to the point now. It's like, well, okay, I'm confident in my gear. It ain't the gear that ain't gonna make me no faster. I just need to pull the trigger more, you know.
Yep. Pull it more consistently in the right direction and, hit the target.
Right, exactly.
Gear's going to get you so far. And it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like the Glock versus the 2011.
Yeah.
I have seen people win with a Glock. Like Matt Martini has won with a Glock. Matt Martini is a really good pistol shooter. And he, like I said, he is one with a Glock. But if, a 2011 makes it so much easier and allows you to get away with being a little bit more sloppy. But if you can shoot a Glock and win, then whenever you switch over to a 2011, you're just going to dominate.
Oh, 100%, man. The learning curve not the learning curve, but just like you said, the advantage of running a 2011 over a plastic gun or something like that, it's a night and day jump.
Mm-hmm.
It's
like you feel like you're cheating.
100%, man. Like when I first got that 2011, the first one I had, good Lord. I mean, just run it so much faster, so much better. And then of course to put the red dot on it, that was ridiculous. I mean, that was huge for me too. That took a little bit to get used to, but once I did, it's like, man, I don't want to go back to irons anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got guys like, what's his face? Nils.
Mm-hmm.
Johansson, whatever, with the Canic. He dominates.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, man. 2011, I think that's the way to go. Of course, there's all kinds of different people putting stuff on the market now. The barrier of entry for that too has even gotten lower.
Mm-hmm. So, talking about matches and everything, we all have our favorite matches that, the one match that stands out in our mind over all other matches. For you, what is your all-time favorite match that you've shot? What made it so great? And is that match still around?
Oh, man. I'm going to have to say the last year of Blue Ridge, which was at Rock Castle.
Okay.
That's the one that sticks out in my mind.
Yep, I was there for that. That was a good match. Yeah, that was 2018.
God, it was that long ago, man.
Or no, 2019.
2019, because they didn't do a 2021, and then
they didn't do it.
It went away for a year.
Yep. And then they brought it back to South Carolina. So it was 2019 was the last year that they had Blue Ridge.
Hell, that was probably the last match at Rock Castle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of any matches, I think they closed it after that.
Yep.
I've been hearing about Blue Ridge for several years from a local guy. He went and he shot it for 7 or 8 years, whatever, and he kept telling me about it. I said, man, this sounds cool. Finally, I was like, all right, let's go. Let's do it. That was my second major I've been to. The first major I ever went to was the Pro-Am that same year. And
Mm-hmm.
it was just everything I thought about and really wanted to do, shooting wise was just, that was it. Because you're running through the woods, shooting at stuff. You don't know where stuff's at. Physical, long range. I mean, it had it all, and that one really stuck out in my mind. Of course, that's the first time I ended up shooting with Nick and the rest of the DoubleStar guys too. So that match kind of holds a special place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So that year, the stage I worked, it was me and Chris Wiseman, and you had to shoot shotgun on weak side, and then dump shotgun, and then proceed up the hill and
yep.
hit targets out in the woods, and you're going uphill for about 100 yards and just shooting at targets through the tree line. And it was just me and Chris, and it was a struggle. Like, I think we were covering 12 to 15 miles a day. And you're like, I remember whenever I shot that stage, like, I forgot to close my right eye and I closed my left eye instead, shooting shotgun on weak side. And so all my shots are going to the left, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Why can't I hit shit? And so I dumped shotgun at the end and like clean rifle and everything. And I'm like, oh fuck, I just realized what I did. And so the worst part is I knew I was going to be an RO, so you're just watching everybody just clean it after. You're like, man, I fucking hate myself right now. If I could get something back, that would be it.
Oh shit, dude. I remember that stage, man, because because it was up that steep incline up into the woods.
Yep.
And you're gassed by the time you got up there, and you're trying to find those targets like hidden behind different V's and trees and limbs, and the target presentation would change for the time of day because the way the sun was hitting the targets.
Yep.
That was nuts, dude.
And
That was cool. I like that kind of shit.
And that was a really it was shitty to RO, but at the same time it was fun because it's like, yeah, I'm having to rough it up that hill the entire time for 3 freaking days, but at the same time it's like you find a group of people that, as an RO, that you can talk to throughout the squad, and it's like, me and Nick, that's where like me and Nick became really good friends. Like, we just kind of connected, talked, and we were just like cutting jokes and all that the entire time. Like, you don't need to be a Marine to have a fucked up personality. And like, me and Nick were just saying some really off the wall shit and just having a good old time. And like, from that point on, we just became real close friends. And it's like, I mean, the dude came out to my retirement. It's like, that says something about somebody. He drove at least 8 hours just to come out and see me for a day, got a hotel room, and be there for something that was special. Like, that means something. And it's like, that shows, the type of people that work for that company. And it just shows the type of person that he is.
Oh, dude, salt of the earth, man. I mean, like you said, just great people. He's such a good dude, man. I talked to him today for a little bit actually, but yeah, it's been a great opportunity to be on the team and represent, with guys like you and Nick and all that. It's been freaking badass.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the team itself is just filled with great people. I'm not gonna put myself in that category, but we got you, we got Brittany, and then we have Nick, we have the Brian Ray and Brian Vaught. Like, those are the core active people that are shooting right now that I can think of off the top of my head, and it's like, those are pretty good fucking people.
Oh yeah, that and Tablet Jesus, Rob Hall.
Oh fuck! How do I forget Rob Hall? Sorry, Rob. Well, he ain't even gonna be at he ain't even gonna be at Fall Brawl. So fuck you, Rob.
I know, what the fuck, dude. I mean, he got his job back, or the same job, but paying more now. It's like, bro, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, I get it. He is shooting a super secret though with us. He and I are going to room together up at Jack's.
Nice. Yeah, I wish I could make that one. That'd be a good time.
So,
But it's probably best that
oh
I
yeah,
don't
Nick's
show up
coming to
to
that
that.
too, actually.
Probably best I don't show up.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, shit, dude.
All right. So we've talked about your favorite match of all time.
Yeah,
Now next year, like what match are you looking forward to shooting next year over all of them?
Duskin. If I get the invite, Duskin.
You're gonna get the invite.
Well, I don't ever take anything for granted, but I'd be awesome, dude. I got to redeem myself.
Oh, do tell. What happened? I don't remember.
No, I got stuck on the damn was it 80-pound dumbbell bench press?
Oh yeah. That's because you didn't
Yeah,
have me
man.
there yelling at you like I was yelling at Alex Goking. I went up you know, for those who are regular listeners, they probably already heard it, but I went up to Alex Goking. I was like, "Hey, Nate Staskowitz got all 5 of them, so don't be a bitch."
Oh, bro.
And he pushed him out. I thought he was going to break his shoulder doing it, but he got it.
Dude, yeah, that damn it stuck me on the 5th rep. I got it with my right arm, my left arm stuck me, just froze. I'm like, not again. So as soon as I got back, started hitting the weights.
Yep.
So I want to, and that match, that was unreal. I mean, I would say that's probably on par with the Blue Ridge match for me as far as most memorable fun match. As you know, it's stupid physical and
Yep.
just high intensity. Shooting under duress, that kind of stuff. I enjoy those kind of matches. And that was just insane. Dragging that daggum dummy through there, throwing it out the window, and then dragging it another 40 yards. I mean, just yeah, that's probably the one I'm looking forward to next year. I mean, even though it is a 1-day match, but it's well worth the drive. And of course, all the Zoo City stuff, man.
Yeah. I'm looking to redeem myself next year for Zoo City after the debauchery I put on display in long range. Like everything else went fine. Shotgun, pistol, great. Rifle. Where the fuck am I hitting? And come to find out, I figured out what it was. It was the chrono issue that I didn't realize I had.
Ah, damn, dude. You didn't have the right speeds in the calculator.
Yep. So I was probably, I think I had 3,000 feet per second in there, and my ammo realistically was going 2,700 feet per second.
Oh no. That's catastrophic.
Yep. So I was hitting probably 4 feet low on everything.
Oh man. And at that point you don't know what's going on, so you just start a bracket. You're like, I'm just gonna send it.
Yep. And then you just get to the point where you're just shooting in the direction of the targets, and if you connect, you connect. If you don't, well, fuck it, I'll take the penalty. So you can at least finish the stage.
Right, because a bunch of FTEs is brutal.
Speaking of just finishing the stage, I was in the same boat as you, Scott. I did 4 of the bench presses at Duskin, and on the 5th one, I started going up. I was like, I don't got it. Might as well just dump it and get on with the rest. I did everything else in that stage. There were some tire flips and there's a lot of farmers carry, but yeah, man, that's I don't know if I'm gonna get a chance to go back and redeem myself, but I feel you. I feel you there.
Yeah, that was dude, that last farmer's carry from the rifle to the pistol bay, and then you had
Yeah.
to shoot pistol with the little no shoots and all that.
Yeah, I dig the shit out of those no shoots. I was like staring straight at what I meant to hit, but like my forearms were just making shots, just go straight into penalties. Heat-seeking missiles, man. Heat-seeking missiles, and the payload is like just points added to your final score. It was so much fun though, dude. Like regardless of like how trashed you got, such a fun match. So yeah, I get it. I get why you're looking forward to it. But on a local level, I know that you run matches in your area. You run 2-gun matches. So what are some of I mean, I guess the question we'll start with is, if you could run 3-gun matches, would you be? And is it just a question of the population and people like the density of shooters willing to get into 3-gun in your area?
So we started off actually when I started shooting competitions at what used to be Core Shooting Solutions. It was a 3-gun series. It was sponsored by Prime Ammunition at the time, and I want to say I shot the very last season they had, and for some reason it was 3-gun. So I'm running what I had. I had a Mossberg Pump 500, whatever, and then ended up getting built a Stoger shotgun. And then the owners decided they wanted a 2-gun series. That's cool. Yeah, we're behind a trigger. Cool. It wasn't until later on that I got back into 3-gun, and really that's my passion, 3-gun. So the 2-gun stuff has been around in this area for probably around, I don't know, 6 years. And I don't know what it is about shotgun now. People just don't want to shoot it. But I've been mixing in stuff in the matches to where you've got an option. You can either run a shotgun on the steels or slug a paper, that kind of thing. And I've been doing it for this last year. I've been mixing that in, and I'm seeing more and more people bring shotguns, right? And that's kind of been my segue into more interest in the 3-gun. This last match, I was a little bit more dirty about it. I let them shoot a shotgun at a spinner, right? You're going to shoot a shotgun at a spinner over a pistol. Mm-hmm. Realistically, next year, I'm going to talk to the owners, and they're receptive about it. I do want to have a 2-gun division, a 3-gun division, because I love 3-gun. That's my jam, you know? That's kind of where we're at. I just don't know what the stigma is around here about, shotguns are dumb, I don't want to do that. But
we have the same problem up here.
Do you really?
Yeah. It's just pretty prevalent.
I think it's just equipment and cost. And logistics, I think, is a big part of it. I'm primarily a USPSA shooter, and everything just fits in one of them little wagons, right? Do like Matt was getting me into 3-gun, and I have the double wide stroller, and like even that is like packed to the fucking brim, and I don't quite have enough space for everything. And as someone who likes things orderly and like in their place, it's just a lot. It's a bear, you know. But I get it. It's really fun to shoot all 3 guns and have different shooting challenges tailored to those guns. I think from just the shooter perspective, it's logistics, and from the match director perspective, man, like you just have to be able to think through challenges for all 3 guns. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. I agree. To make it an interesting match to where it's not just a standard percent, run from this box, shoot shotgun, run from that box, pistol, so on and so forth. It is a little more challenging. It's a lot more challenging to come up with stuff like that. I'm not anywhere near Jason Byerly. That dude's a freaking genius. As far as stage design, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's a lot more complex. In these USPSA stages that guys are coming up with, there's a lot of options, different ways to do things. I'm not going to lie. I'll take some, USPSA stages. I'll either shoot or I'll see somebody shoot, and I'll tweak them and add the different guns, that kind of thing. But yeah, you're probably right. It's the logistics of that extra shotgun or that extra weapons platform they got to tote around, the extra shells they got to buy, the this, that, and the other. It is nice to throw a pistol in a bag of 9mm and just go to the range and shoot a competition.
It is super nice. Also, I mean, I'm much more of a scrub in 3-gun, and I guess from my perspective, it's like Why would I want to suck at 3 guns when I could just suck at one? But my first match ever was 3 gun. I had a Remington 870 that I brought out and did terrible, but it's still super fun. But yeah, I think I would just say it's logistics. Have you ever considered running the PCSL rule set? It's something that we've played around with up here. Matt and I are talking about putting one on for November. Some of the guys on the shooting team are going to the PCSL championships. I just wonder, has it filtered down to you guys?
Well, we got a couple guys locally. I know you guys know Brendan Souter.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's probably about 45 minutes to an hour away from my house. He's got a farm up there. He just did a PCSL match. I can't remember. I think I had to work the field. I was up at the camp that weekend. I didn't get to make it to that match. So he's implementing that. There's another guy over towards Mobile, Alabama that says they're going to that rule set next year. We're still running USPSA matches locally at our range. So we're just buying those targets. I don't know if I'm not opposed to it by any means. I'm just not sure as far as buying a third target because I'm using, the turtle targets, the USPSA targets, and I have to add those targets. I'm still kicking it around a little bit. I haven't really, we'll see. I'd like to go shoot a couple of them and see what I feel about it. I know it's hit factor instead of just time plus points.
Yeah, I think that appeals to a lot of people who want to shoot center fire rifle with hit factor. So Brendan is actually, I think in January, he's bringing PCSL internationally for the first time. He's hosting a match out in Trinidad, which is pretty cool. But we interviewed him recently. He comes up here to Shadowhawk and he does his day and night match, which, we shoot stuff in the day and then we put on NVGs or white light and we shoot the same stage at night. So we're on the third iteration up here. Matt and I are going to be shooting that. So huge fans of Brendan as a match director. I would definitely try it out and then see if it's for you. But I understand like the same thing, same reason that people don't want to get into shotgun is partially the same reason you don't want to buy a third set of targets, right? It's just logistics.
Yeah, basically. And right now, you've only got one supplier also supplying the targets too, right? It's Super
It's true. Yeah.
So, I think the target cost is similar. I have to look at it again, but
yeah.
Not opposed to it. I'd love to see it take off, as far as have another organization challenge USPSA maybe, but it's a free market, more people playing it's better. But yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna try to make it one of his matches, just finding time to do stuff, dude.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, there's not enough time or money to get to all the matches that you want to get to. So how long have you been match director?
This is going on, I think we're about 2.5 years now.
Okay. And then out of all, like, did you get a lot of advice starting out? And if so, what bits of advice were especially helpful? I just put on my third match this last weekend. It was a difficult one. We got pissed on Saturday, and then we hosted on Quantico. So range control sat on their ass for 2 hours before we could go hot on Sunday. So I had some very crazy shooters. So it was definitely challenging. I've had a lot of good advice, but I'm curious as to what bits of advice you received when you were starting out that are still pertinent today.
Oh, hell. Well, it was one of those I volunteered. We had a guy running the matches. He's a PRS dude and ex 7th group guy. Had some medical issues and they didn't have anybody to run the next match coming up. He ended up leaving. And I said, I'll do it. Never run a match before. Screw it. I've shot enough matches. Let's try it. As far as advice goes, I'd say I'm still working on it. I'm still trying. Having your top shooters and your mid-pack guys and your lower guys and making the match difficult to challenge your top dudes, but not too hard to where your mid-pack guys are going to be timing out, right? So that's always been a struggle for me, because I want to put a lot of content. I want them to get their money's worth, right? So I want to put a lot of shooting in and stuff like that. So trying to think of other advice. Hell, just kind of been shooting from the hip, man, and just figuring it out. Running a match. Okay, well that didn't work quite right. I need to tweak this next time. I need to change this. I need to do that, and it's slowly coming together. For the amount of time we've been doing it, I'm by no means got it figured out, but
Yeah.
I think we're getting close.
Yeah. Well, you said we. And the next question I was going to ask is, what does your support system look like? How have you kind of divvied out the responsibilities so it's not just you running around at the last minute, like hammering in stakes and just losing your mind as shooters show up?
Yeah, so I've got another good buddy of mine named Ryan Shavers. He helps run the matches with me. He doesn't shoot a whole lot. He's mostly into PRS. He comes out and dicks around with the 2-gun stuff every once in a while. So he just enjoys coming out, helping, that kind of thing. And we bounce ideas off of each other. So as not as an experienced shooter as I am, I'm not a freaking expert by any means, but I've shot a lot more matches than he has. So we kind of come to a middle ground and look at that kind of thing. We both have normal jobs, so we get up there on a Friday. I have a game plan. We'll hammer stuff out, put everything in the ground, and then Saturday morning we're going live. So
Gotcha.
That's it. Just most of the time it's just he and I. Sometimes I'll have one more other dude help.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. And then so you put on matches, you go to major matches, you go to other people's local matches. At what point, and sometimes just a string of bad things happen, right? I think Matt and I were talking before this, and we're looking at November. We're going to shoot Brendan's day and night match, and then we're thinking of putting on a match on Quantico, PCSL, that second weekend. And then the third weekend, I'm coming down to Orlando actually to shoot the IPSC Nationals. That's going to be at Volusia. So
Awesome.
And he's going to be at Fall Brawl. So we're looking at that stretch of 2 to 3 weeks, and we're like, that there's a very real risk of burnout there. So how do you manage that in your schedule?
I step back from it for a minute. If I feel like I'm getting burnt out, I don't know, Matt's told you, I've got some land in Alabama. So if I'm just like, you know what, I'm done with this for a little bit, I'll go work on a property for a few weekends. I won't sign up for any matches. I'll go up there and mess around with my guns in the yard, that kind of thing like that. But for the most part, I just distance myself for that for a little bit. To get my head straight, try to get the passion back for it. I get it. I've been burned out a couple times. Just like, man, I'm just not feeling this. I just don't care, But that's probably my biggest release, to just get some tractor therapy,
Yeah, do something else productive. That
Right.
takes your
Hunting.
mind off of it.
Hunting.
Hunting. Yeah, I'll go up there and kill stuff at night, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, just get my mind off of that. Of course, when I get back to it, then I'm like, man, I should have been training while I was doing that. But you know how that goes.
Yeah. Do you find it, having been shooting as long as you have, do you find it important to have all these different things that you're passionate about to kind of balance out? And I guess what advice would you give some of the newer shooters coming into the sport, going super hard in a 3-gun or USPSA? I mean, yeah, what kind of advice would you give someone who's maybe a little too tunnel visioned?
Oh, as far as just denoting all their time to it.
Yeah, because that happens. The shooting sports, people get really into the shooting sports, pump a lot of money and time into it. You see it all the time.
Oh, dude, I was that guy. A couple years ago, I was shooting every weekend. I think I shot it was 40 something matches one year. I mean, I was shooting Saturday, Sunday, just going balls to the wall. And if it fires you up, do it. I get it. If it's something you're passionate about, cool. At some point though, I mean, it's I don't know, man. until you lose a passion for it or something else. It's what it boils down to. It's a hobby for us, right?
Yeah.
So, we're not making any money doing this. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's so, yeah, dial it back if you feel like you're stressed or it's consuming your life. Beyond that, hell, it's a great sport to be in. But
Yeah. It's good advice. If you find yourself not having fun doing it, then that's the moment at which you need to take a step back and reprioritize and put some emotional energy investment into other things, and then it will balance out. Let yourself want to come back, and I think that's exactly what you do when you go to your land in Alabama, or go hunting or something else. It completely makes sense. But at this point, we've talked about competing, we've talked about guns, talked about match directing. Any last shout outs that you'd like to give to, or any last bits of advice that you'd like to leave the listener with?
Well, shout out to my dudes at DoubleStar for the sport and just being cool ass guys. Of course, for Altus Shooting Solutions for letting me take over the 2-gun series and kind of give me kind of free range and letting me do what I want to do. They've been super supportive of that. Letting me take advantage of all the different stuff they've got on the range, props, whatnot. Super cool stuff. Shit, as far as advice, hell, I don't know, man. Just do it until it's not any fun anymore. I mean, just keep remember it's a hobby. Don't let it get to you. When it's not fun anymore, step back for a second and kind of reevaluate why you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. I absolutely agree. Well, Scott, it was great meeting you, really, and talking to you and picking your brain. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. For our listeners, let us know how we're doing on your preferred listening platform. Please leave us a review. Reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll see you next time.